And what is my body fat percentage? My body fat percentage, I am 3.87%, so I am way leaner than Greg Doucette. That is absolutely amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm 3.87%. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be measuring my body fat. When I did my body transformation video, I had a lot of people asking me what exactly my body fat percentage is, and I have absolutely no idea. I'm estimating it to be around 9%, but I don't know an actual number, so I'm going to be doing calipers on myself, which is something that I've never done before. For those of you who are actually interested in learning how to perform a caliper assessment on your patients or on your clients or on yourself, I'm going to include a link right up over here that I made a few years ago, but basically you could watch that video just to get a little bit familiarized with how exactly to perform a caliper assessment. In terms of the actual assessment itself, if you ever are doing a caliper assessment on somebody, I just want to make a couple of notes. A few mistakes that people will make, and I actually made a video last week on common mistakes. I can include a link right up over here, but one of the mistakes is that you want to make sure that you're always measuring under the same conditions. So if you measure on an empty stomach after you've gone to the washroom first thing in the morning, you want to always do those same things. And the reason being, if you end up measuring at different times of days, your weight could easily fluctuate by 10 pounds. And if your weight fluctuates by 10 pounds, that's going to be 10 pounds of lean mass that is going to be attributed when you do the Skinfold Caliper assessment. I'm going to use myself as an example. When I wake up in the morning, I start my day by drinking 2 liters of water, and then I eat about a pound of food. So that's about 5.5 pounds of lean mass that I'm adding to my body. So if I were to measure it before I eat, and then I measure it after I eat, I'm going to have 5 more pounds of lean mass, but that's not going to be a true reflection of my actual body fat percentage. So if you are measuring for clients, you want to make sure that you're always measuring under the exact same conditions. The other thing is you want to make sure that you're always using the same formula, because there's not just one Skinfold Caliper formula. There are plenty. Pretty much, if you were to measure on one formula, you could get something like 12%. If you measure on a different one, you could get 24%. The fluctuations on the different methods can be absolutely astronomical. And myself, when I first started about 17 years ago doing Skinfold Caliper assessments, I ended up using the Perillo method. The reason that I used the Perillo method was a couple of reasons. Number one, it had the most sites out of any of the methods that were available on linear software. It had 9 as opposed to the Jackson Pollock 3 site, 4 site, and 7 site. And then the Duren-Womersley method, I believe, had 7 sites. So I wanted to pick the one that had the most numbers, because at the time I figured the more numbers, the better. And another reason that I picked the Perillo method is because with the Perillo method, it's the only one out of those formulas that takes your weight into account. If you're doing something like the Jackson Pollock 7, 4, or 3 site, or something like the Duren-Womersley method, it doesn't matter if you weigh 10 pounds or if you weigh 500 pounds. The number that you get is going to be exactly the same. So the Perillo method, if you're using any of the ones on that website, would be preferable, and that was the one that I originally started out with. Over the course of the last decade, in 2010, that is when I started using the BioSignature Modulation method from Charles Poliquin, and also the Metabolic analytics. Those ones over there I find to be very, very accurate, and it uses 14 different sites. We use the chin, the cheek, the pec, the bicep, the tricep, the subscapular, the low back, mid-axillary, suprailiac, umbilical, knee, calf, quadricep, and hamstring. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do those ones on myself because I can't reach most of those methods or most of those areas. But today, what I'm going to be doing is the Jackson Pollock 3-site method, because of all the different methods that are available on linear software, that is the only one that I could readily access the body parts that I need to measure. Now, in terms of this method, I'm not a fan of this method. One of the reasons that I'm not a fan is because it's only 3 sites. So if you don't store a lot of fat in your pec, in your umbilical, or in your quadricep, which I tend to not store too much fat in those areas, you can get a gross underestimation of what your actual body fat percentage is. I'm estimating my body fat to be somewhere around the 9% range, and I guarantee you on this method right over here, I'm going to be under 6%. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to show up under 6%. And I'm going to just give a quick example of the measurements that I did on a recent one of my IFBB pro bodybuilders. He ended up competing at a show, and we ended up doing his body fat 2 weeks after, just to kind of see how exactly his body composition had changed from showtime until 2 weeks after the contest. And what I found was on the Jackson Pollock 7-site method, he ended up getting 4.92%, which was incredibly low, and there's no way he was actually 4.92%. That would have been stage ready, and he was not stage ready at the time. When I eyeballed him, I told him that I thought he looked at around 8%, and when I ended up doing the Metabolic analytics, which is the 14-site method, it actually came out to 8%. So my eyes matched up with the Metabolic analytics software. When I did the Jackson Pollock 3 method right now, I input all these numbers, he ended up coming in at 4.08%, which was even lower. And again, that's the method I'm going to be using on myself, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to show up under 6% today. I used the Jackson Pollock 4 just to kind of see what that would be. That was 4.24. The Perillo method came in at 5.58. 8, and then the Duren-Womersley method came out at 8.42%. So the closest one to his actual body fat percentage was the Duren-Womersley method. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if I put his weight at 10 pounds or 500 pounds, it's going to be 8.42%, which is why I'm not a fan of any of those methods aside from the Perillo method if you are going to be using a Skinfold assessment from the linear software. But if you haven't done the BioSignature Modulation course or the Metabolic Analytics course from Charles Poliquin, I would highly recommend it because I find that in terms of actual Skinfold assessments, it is much more accurate than any of the ones that you're going to find on the linear software. But anyway, enough with that. I want to go ahead and measure my actual body fat percentage. So I am on the linear software website right now. My height is 5'9", age 34, weight is 154 pounds, which again, it doesn't really matter. I could be 500 pounds, I could be 1 pound. My body fat percentage is going to show up the exact same because this method over here does not take into account your actual weight. But the first thing that I want to do is the chest. And this is going to be a little bit tricky. I've never measured body fat on myself, and I'm also right-handed, and I'm going to be measuring with my left hand because you want to measure above the actual skin fold. So for the pec, we're going to do a diagonal fold, 2 fingertips away from the actual pec. Let's see how exactly this goes. This is going to be really tricky, but I'm going to go ahead. We're going to measure above that, and let's see what we get. Okay, so we have 3.8 millimeters of fat. So let's go ahead and type that in, 3.8. Next, we're gonna do the abdominal. With the abdominal, this one over here is going to be a vertical fold. Once again, I'm gonna use my left hand. I'm gonna put the calipers right in the belly button, and then wherever the crook of the actual calipers are, that's where I'm gonna take my measurement. So let's dry off my fingers. I'm gonna go ahead, take a nice big pinch, and let's see what this one comes out to. 4.2. Okay, it's definitely going to be below 6%. And then the last one's going to be the thigh. The thigh midway from patella to the actual hip. And this one over here, it's another vertical fold. So I'm going to go ahead. Right around there is the midway point. I'm going to go ahead and take a nice pinch, flex my leg, and then relax my leg, and let's go ahead and take that measurement. 4.4. All right, so we're going to go ahead, push start, and see what it came out to. I'm predicting it's going to be under 6%. Let's see if I'm right. And what is my body fat percentage? My body fat percentage, I am 3.87%, so I am way leaner than Greg Doucette. That is absolutely amazing. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm 3.87%. Am I 3.87%? Hell no. I was going to add 50% to whatever this thing told me, but there's no way I'm even under 6%. If I added 50% to that, I would literally be under 6%. And according to this, I don't know if you can see it, I'll include a screenshot, but 3.87% is incredibly ridiculous. There's no way I'm 3.87%. If I was 3.87%, I would be able to go to an IDFA bodybuilding competition and I would smoke the competition completely. Look at me right now. Does it look like if I were to go into a bodybuilding competition, I would be able to win? No, I would definitely have to get leaner. So one of the things that I wanted to elaborate with this video is that you can never go by the Skinfold assessments on their own, because every single one, it's going to have different formulas, and you have to be very, very careful with the formulas that you use because they use algorithms. They're not going to be 100% accurate. But this one right over here, of all of the different methods, this one is my least favorite because it only uses 3 sites and it doesn't actually take into account your actual weight. So again, if I were to put my weight at 300 pounds, it would still show up as below 4%. The actual body fat percentage would stay exactly the same. So if you are going to be taking any measurements whatsoever, don't use any of the Jackson Pollocks, the 3, the 4, the 7, and don't use the Duren-Womersley method. If you are going to use any of those methods, use the Perillo method because it actually takes into account your actual weight. And if you can afford to take either the BioSignature Modulation course or the Metabolic Analytics course, I would highly recommend it. I took it in 2010, and those are the methods that I've been using with my athletes and with my patients and clients for the last 11 years, and I found it to be the best out of all the different caliper methods that I've used. But that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow.